Hello everyone, good morning. Yesterday we checked about how to install Ansible machine and how to connect to the nodes and how to run ad hoc commands on the remote machines. Okay, today we are going to write some playbooks. Okay, playbook is nothing but a script file. We call it playbooks. Okay, so let me connect to my controller machine. So this is a location slash etc and slash Ansible where you keep all your stuff. Okay. So first of all, what I have to do is I have to check my host file whether my IP of my web server is added. So IP is 172.30.31.30.143. So it is already added. Remember that we have to give IP address and SSH username and our path file to uh, key file path. Okay. So you have this key file here. So I have given path like /etc /ansible myweb.pem. Okay. Now we are going to write first playbook. Okay. Playbook 1.yml. So before writing this, I'll log into my web server and check whether um, Apache is installed or not, because from this playbook we are going to install Apache. Okay. So here you have to use your public key. Remember that your public key will be changed every time you restart your machine. Yesterday I shut that machine down, and now I started it. So my public IP got changed. So now I'm connected. So we can check here whether it got installed or not. Apache is not installed in this machine. Okay. So now what I'll do is I write a playbook on my controller machine, and uh, I'll show you how to install Apache. Okay. Remember that your playbook starts with three hyphens. That is the syntax given by Ansible. Okay. These playbooks are written with YAML script. YAML, Y-A-M-L. Okay. So the first line would be like three dashes, and then you have to write like this, host. So host is the tag for um, a tag for uh, on which host you want to run the YAML script. So in my host file, web server is the group of my servers. Okay, under web server, yesterday we created web server group with square brackets. Okay, you can add as many servers as you want, but here I have added only one. So Now whenever I run this script, it goes to host file and check for web server group and runs this script on all the machines um, given there. Okay. There is one more thing called connection type. So connection type you can give remote user or connection local. So both will work. So remote user means you have to mention the user account, remote underscore user. I'll give root. So there are two types. You can give remote user as a root so that this user must be the user of this remote machine. For example, sudo -i. Now I connected as a root. So root is the username. You need to check whether root exists there or not. If you have any user account created, you can use user account as well. Okay. So first we have given the server where to go and with what user you need to connect. Okay. And one more thing is become yes. So whatever you see in blue here is key and black here is value. So keys are constant that is given by Ansible itself, but you can only change the values. So become yes means whether that user has admin privileges or not. So if you say yes, he will log in as an admin and do the work. Okay. So this part is done. Where to connect with which user and what to do. So now we have discussed about how to install Ansible and connect with Okay, are you able to hear me now? Please ping me if you are able to hear. Hello? Okay, fine. So here, APT is the module. As I told you yesterday, APT is the module to excuse me, to install my application. Okay, my application name is Apache 2. Okay, and state is latest. That downloads the latest version of the Apache. Before doing that, I need to update cache. That means it will run the apt update command before, oh sorry, before installing the Apache. Okay, this is the simple script I want to execute now. Okay, we don't have any variables right now, so we don't need to pass anything. Okay, so now I'm leaving it. So I'm saving. I have my file ready, my first playbook. Okay, so in order to run this command, you have to use Ansible playbook playbook, and here is your playbook 1.yml. Have done something wrong. Let us check the web server group in host file. It is web server. Yeah, it's correct. Let us ping once. Ansible web server -m ping. It's pinging. So let us check now our playbook. The error appears in playbook line number 2, column number 3, but elsewhere in the file depending on the exact syntax problem. Why is it showing syntax? Okay, where is not valid because we have not given anything, right? I'll remove where. I'll remove where. Okay, because we are not using where is empty. Sorry, we have to give like wheres instead of where. Okay, so now, yeah, that is a typo. We have to use wheres instead of where. Okay, so now you have to notice that whatever you see in green is no change. So whatever we need, it is there. So there is no change. Whatever you see in yellow, That means there is a change. Okay, here you see in the play recap, on server 172.31.31.43, there are two things. It is okay. The first task is gathering facts and pinging. So it is done. It is okay, and the change has been made for only one. Here it is changed, and here it is okay. Okay means you have that stuff already there. So if I try to run the same again, there is no change because it is already installed. You got my point? So I ran second time and there is no change. Everything is okay. Change is zero. Change is zero here. But here, for the first time, change is 1 because Apache got installed. Let us check. Oh, this session got expired. Let me close and open again. Close. Okay. See, Apache is running. If you check whether it is working or not, you have to simply browse this IP here. By Apache default page cam. It works. So what we have done is we have now changed, installed Apache web server on this machine. Okay. So now what we have to do is we will make some changes and see whether we are able to modify this. So you might have got a doubt how we used APT, why we have to use APT here, and where did I get this index from. So it is very simple. It is not that much hard to understand YAML. Ansible APT module. Okay, you have to first check all the Ansible modules, how many modules are there, and what you can do with those modules. Then you can simply write with these examples. See here, update APT repository cache. So you can use this. Here in the example, foo is the application name. Whatever you can do, you can do. Okay, apt get, it installs application name after updating the cache. Okay, so it says update repository cache and install foo package. Here foo is just for example. So you can simply write, and you can have more options here, but you have to use whatever you want to do. But remember that this is the indentation you have to follow. apt get colon, and after uh, third character of apt you have to start the name. If you don't use that particular proper indentation, see here, from task at the third letter I started this name. Okay, and name and apt or in parallel. Okay, both are those under tasks, and inside apt you have to um, use the indentation after two characters. You have to start from the third letter. Okay, that is how it works. Now we will check how to use um, variables. Okay, so it is already there. So what I'll do is, so variables is not var, it is vars. Okay, so this is my one play, and I'll write one more thing. am updating index dot, say modifying index.html file. So actually what I'll do is I'll change some content on index.html. See what module we have to use here. Okay, here you see on the browser, here it says Apache Ubuntu default page. Okay, and here it is configuration overview. I want to change some text. It can be any text. For example, if you have any configuration file, you can change configuration file as well. But I need to modify some one line. Okay. So what I'll use is uh, here is the thing. I want to change this. Oh, this is page title. So I need to change something else. Yeah, I want to change this text. Okay. So the module I use is line in file. Okay, you have to check the proper module for doing your work. Okay, line in file. So under line in file, path. Where is this file? Okay, where www html index.html. So this is my file path. Remember here tabs do not work. You have to give proper spaces. Tabs do not work in YAML script. If you give tab, the script will not work. So now regexp is for registering expression that you want to uh, give. So here the syntax is you have to use, put it on quotes, but you have to start with cap Apache 2. Then that will search for the line which starts with Apache 2 and replaces with line. This is my web page. So after running it, what happens is this text will be modified with the text I have given. This is my web page. Blah. Okay. Anything. Web page. I will give it. So let me check. Here you can simply, here also you don't need any variables. Okay. I'm just checking. Uh, let me run this script with this. I'm running this. Remember the command Ansible -playbook and your playbook file name. Okay, change has been made. Let us refresh this on web browser. Let me check whether it changed. syntax or not. But it says it changed. Let me check. Yeah, it added at the end of this page, but it didn't replace it. Just a minute. Here it added, but it should replace. The cause might be this. Um, I have space before the file, before the line. Let me check. So it doesn't affect this side here. So I'm going to run it again. Okay, it got modified. So let us check. Yeah, actually it is not taking spaces. Okay, so what we have done is I have replaced the text here. I'll show you again. Yeah, earlier there was another text here. Okay, what I have done with my playbook is I wrote a script such a way that search for APT2 Apache 2 and replace the line with this. So it searches wherever it finds a line starting with Apache 2 and it replaces that line with this is my web page. Okay, earlier there was some space before Apache because the line was not started with Apache 2 but with the space. That is why it didn't replace it. Okay, so now you got this, how to write a playbook. This is the basic stuff. Now you can modify this with many things like, yeah, let me tell you how to write variables. Okay. Okay. So I need one example to write variables. For example, okay, right. I'll tell you. We have another thing called Jinja templating. Okay, let me tell you what Jinja is, and then you can understand. For example, here, my host name is this, right? So what I have to do is, in order to change my host name, I have two files. One is etc/host. Here my host name is defined, right? And one more thing you have to do is vi etc hosts, sorry, host name. Here my host name is defined. So what I have to do is I have to change host name. Okay, I have to change host name all the time whenever I launch a machine, I need to change my host name. So what I have to do is I have to use my Jinja template. Okay, I think before going to Jinja, we will check one more thing: how to launch EC2 instances. Okay, then we will more. Then it will be clear for you to go to further steps like Jinja. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm writing a script that launches EC2 instance. Okay. So here is the thing. I have to create one file. My playbook name is EC2 launch. So here the first line is 3 dashes and my host is here. I'm giving my local loopback IP. This is the IP of any local machine because when I want to install EC2 instance, I ran that command on another instance. I ran the playbook on another instance, right? Here, I have to launch EC2 instance. So I'll run my um, script locally and connect to AWS, and then I will launch my machine. Okay. So here connection type is not remote. Connection is local. Okay. And where's. Here you can have many where's. Okay. So now you can see I'll leave where's for now and I'll write tasks. My task name is name launching EC2 instance. Okay. Now we need to check the module which we need to use. So I'm searching for module Ansible EC2 module. It gives all the syntax to me. I just have to add. So it says create, terminate, start and stop instances. Right? Here it is. So what key you want to use, what instance type you want to use, your image ID and weight type yes, group name, how many servers you want to use, your subnet name, SN, public IP address, yes or no. Okay, so I'm using the same syntax now. Okay, so first of all, we will go from here itself. Launch EC2 instance. First, what will you do? You will select one image. So here is my image name, right? So I'll give like this. So my main module name is EC2. You see here, EC2 is my main module name, right? So now I'm giving EC2. So below that, I have to give my image name. So here I can simply give my image name, but I don't want to give my image name here. Okay, I am giving some variable image underscore no, IAM underscore so AMI underscore ID. You can give anything you want, but I am giving this. But this would be my variable here. Okay. So AMI underscore ID. Now I will check my ID. So step. So here is my ID. Copy. I'm using this AMI. Paste. What it will do is, if we write scripts like this, we can just simply change variables here itself, but not in actual script. So I added image ID. So what is the next step? I need to choose my instance type. Instance underscore type. Okay. Here I think I need to mention this in quotes, otherwise it may not work. Okay. So my instance type is instance I write it server type. I can give any variable here. This is just for your recognition. So then I'll add my variable server underscore type. Okay. See the next step here. Once I select this, I'll give server type. My server type is T2 micro. I'm going with T2 micro. So now, let me give it here. My server type is T2 micro. T2 dot micro. Okay. So what would be my next step? What I have to choose? See here. I have selected this. Now it is how many instance type, how many instances you want to launch at a time. That is called count. Okay. So now you give number of instances. Number of instances, here I give 1. What next? I have to select my VPC and subnet. Here you don't need to specify your VPC because you just specify your subnet. So if you specify one subnet, it would be in your VPC itself by default. But you mention only your subnet ID. That means that subnet ID anyway belongs to only one VPC. So it can recognize from there. You don't need to mention your VPC ID. Okay, but you need to understand which subnet you want to install. For example, I am selecting this subnet. Remember here, see here, here in VP under VPC, you see only one VPC is there, and if you select this subnet, it automatically recognizes which subnet to launch. Okay. Yeah. So Now I give the subnet here, VPC underscore subnet underscore ID. Here subnet underscore ID is my variable. So I use the same thing here. Subnet underscore ID. So my subnet ID is this. This is my subnet ID. Here you see this. So I'll copy and give the subnet. So whenever I launch the machine, right, it will be launched in this subnet. It is uh, W, sorry, US West 2B. Okay, I'm passing my variables. Paste. Sorry. Okay. So after subnet, what you have to choose? Subnet is done. Assign public IP or not. Here in my case, I am selecting yes. I'm going to assign public IP. Okay, let me check here once whether my syntax is correct or not. Yeah, assign public underscore IP. Okay, right. So I give like this, pub underscore IP. Yes. So these are defined by here itself. So whatever you see here, these keys, images, everything, in this table you need to check whether what type of options you can give. See here, assign public IP. The choices are yes or no. That is it. And these are the required parameters, required options. So this is not required, that depends. But there are few options, which is image name. Without image, you cannot launch any machine. So that is mandatory. Instance type, that is mandatory. And if you see here, instance, initiated shutdown behavior, stop, or terminate. By default, this is the default one. Default is stop. If you are not using any terminate, you can just leave it. So by default, it takes stop. And here see EBS optimized is by default 0. And count is also by default it is 1. If you don't mention the count, it's okay. It only launches 1. But it is better to have this option because whenever you want to launch more than one machine, it will be helpful. Okay. So here you need to check, here it is given complete description, what you can do and provisioning instance within VPC. Okay, so yeah, VPC assign a public IP. Boto library must be 2.13. So here we will get, we have to install Boto in order to run this command. Okay, we will check whether Boto is installed or not. Here is the requirement, Python greater than 2.6 version. We already have 2.7, but we need to check Boto. Okay, we will check it later. So my public IP is yes. And then what are the other options you have? What are the other options you have here? Role. Okay, you want to launch this with a role or not? Okay, we will check just a minute. Okay. So now if you want to launch with IAM role or not, so I'll check here. So there must be some option for roles as well. Yeah, for role it would be like profile. So let me check profile once. Instance profile name, name of the instance profile. So it would be the role name. Okay. Yeah. So now instance profile name. I'll write it here. What roles we have? So I give S3 role here. This is just for example, okay? We are not going to do with anything. So here I'll give role, to my understanding. S3 role. Okay. So I need to put this in quotes. So what next? So here my shutdown behavior is stop by default, and if you want to protect against termination, you can choose it. I'm not choosing it now, so I'm good with this page, and I'm going next. So here you need to choose how much storage you want. So I'm keeping it default. If you want, um, you can simply check for that option, volume size. Okay. If you give volume size and number, it will take that much volume. Okay, I am leaving it for now. And next thing I want to choose is my tag name. Okay, so I want to choose my tags. So here instance tag is the tag name here. So I'm going to use it, instance underscore tags. Okay, so right, instance underscore tags. So here what I'll give is simply tags. It is a little bit boring for you, but you need to um, practice this unless you don't understand how it works. Tags. Okay. For tags, what you have to do if you have multiple tags, right? It supports JSON format. Okay, whatever syntax you are writing here, it supports JSON format. If you have only one tag, you can simply give tag name here, but it doesn't work like that. So what you have to do is you have to write such a way that like this name should be in quotes, name colon, here you have to write like this. Web server 2 is my host name. Okay, and comma, and OS type, OS is Linux or Ubuntu. So I'm writing two tags here. So whenever you have multiple options here, you need to write like this. Okay, so it will create two tags. One is for OS, one is for name. Okay, so right. What else we can give now? Here, tag is okay. For now, I have to give some tag and go next. Anyway, I'm not going to launch anything. So now, here you have to choose one security group. So I am going to like this security group. So this is my group ID, right? So my group ID is this group underscore ID. I'm giving this variable as SGID, so I can understand this is security group ID. SG underscore ID. So I copied that, so I'm pasting here. Okay, what is the next step? Just review and launch. That is it. Okay, so here is the thing. How my AWS account connects to, how my server connects to my AWS and then it launches it. What type of keys it is going to use. Okay. For now, I am mentioning region as well, but it is not mandatory. So I'm saving this. Definitely, this script will fail. So first of all, check. We are going to run this on our local host. Okay. So as I'm running locally, I don't need to mention any remote user. And my variables I mentioned these keys and I gave values. And my task is easy to launch. I'm passing these parameters. And this is the structure you follow. So here is the requirement. How I connect from this machine to my AWS account and how I pass this. Okay. So first of all, and we have to do one host entry also. For now, we will check. We will try running this and check each problem we will face. Okay. So Ansible -playbook EC2 launch. So what it is saying, Boto is required, right? Let me install Boto first. Okay, okay. So first of all, I have to install like this apt-get install python-boto. Yes. So this is the dependency. In order to connect to your Ansible machine, you have to install install Boto. Okay, so now my Boto is installed. Now I'm running the playbook again. So that was not there. So, but it is saying either region or EC2 URL must be specified. As I said, I didn't mention region. So I'm mentioning region now. So, sorry. I'm mentioning the region. Okay, so I'm giving the same as here. My region is US West 2. So how do I know my region? Because what I say, if I go here, this is my availability zone. Okay, so up to 2 is my region, and ABC are availability zones. You have to remember. So US-West-2 is my region. Okay. So now what I have to do is I have to save this. Again, it will fail. I'll tell you why. Now I'm running my playbook. See, here is the main thing. Handlers. No handlers were ready to authenticate. Handler was checked. This. Check your credentials. So here I need to connect to my AWS server. I'm sorry, AWS account. How do I connect to my account? Right. So there are two things. One, you need to install AWS CLI on this controller machine, or you have to use this option, access keys and secret key. Here you have this AWS access key and secret key. So why it is using that is AWS access key, if not set, then the value of access key is this and this in environment variables. Okay, so I like to use environment variables because I don't want to keys show my keys on the script file because someone else can use my keys. So I don't want to use that. So I'll use this as a environment variables. Okay, fine. Let me put environment variables for that. Okay, so there are few other options as well. So I'm copying this and I'm putting as an environment variable. Export, paste, this equals, here you need to find one user account, IAM user, and you have to use the keys of that particular user. So here are three users. So let me check. I have user keys with me. Yeah, I think I have keys for Redbird, and I think he is administrator. I'll check. Okay. So I'm using keys of this user. So you get these keys when you provision, you create the user account. You know that. So export is the command for creating, setting environment variables. Okay. So here, I will choose this. You can also pass this on your playbook, but it is not recommended. So you have environment variables. You check these are set. Okay. Now let me run my playbook. Oh, okay. Let us check now whether Redbird has proper permissions to launch EC2 instance. He can have access, but we need to check. He has only limited access, so I'm adding admin group to this user. Administrator access. That means he will have all the permissions. Okay, so I'm deleting all this. Detach. 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 Okay, now he has administrator access. So why I'm changing for that? Because I'm using his credentials. Now it is launching. Okay, one thing got changed. Let us go to EC2 instance and check whether an instance got launched. I'm canceling this. Yeah, you see this? So what we have checked so far. We have written the script and we have installed Boto, which is a dependency application for connecting from Ansible to AWS. Then what we have done, we have exported, we have created one user, and we are using that user's keys, API and secret keys, access and secret keys in this machine, and we set environment variables. Okay. Once it is done, we have to check whether that user has proper credentials to launch EC2 instance. Okay, I have already given full permission, I mean like admin permission, so he is able to launch. So everything I showed you here is showing up in the uh, error itself. The first error is region not specified. Okay, in second error, authentication failed, no handler work. But you need to understand which error is for what. But I know by looking at this authentication error, I know this is the problem with access key and secret key. But you need to understand. You will only get to know when you get some errors like this. Okay, so then authentication failed. I added the access, and then it is saying you are not authorized to perform. You are not authorized to perform this operation. That means whatever keys we are using, that person is not authorized to perform this operation. So that is why I went to AMI and checked for the permissions. Okay, now you know how to write a playbook, simple playbook here. So whatever you are running locally, you have to give this. So this script runs locally, but earlier script we run, it runs remotely. Okay, so that is how it works. And you practice at your home and let me know if you have any questions or doubts. Okay. Um, did anyone ping me? Okay, fine for now. So my being created.